Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic. My name's John Campea, and I can't feel the top half of my face because I had to go to the dentist today because, long story short, she is Canadian. Now I look like Canadian. I'm missing tooth. Okay, so a couple of years ago, I was in a class, got hit in the face, as it happens in these classes. Broke a tooth, no big deal. Got a little bit of a crown put on the other day. The crown falls off. I had to go to the dentist today, thinking they just put the crown back in. Nope, they had to do a little bit of work around it first. Now I got to go back next week and get all done again. I got Novocaine up. I can't feel my face. So, yeah, it's been that kind of a day. Been that kind of a day, everybody. And I can't even drink this without watching myself because I can't feel my face, and I don't know if soda's going to go pouring down my face. Anyway, here on the John Campea Show, try this again. Here at Open Mic, you know, on the John Campea Show earlier in the day, we take some time for some live questions. Oh my God, it feels so weird. We have some time for some live questions, but here on Open Mic, that's all we do. I thought about canceling Open Mic today because I can't exactly talk straight properly, but who cares? Whatever. We're going to take questions and talk about all sorts of things in movie news. Today on the John Campea Show, if you haven't watched today's John Campea Show, make sure you go back and watch that. There is so much going on in the world of movie news today. It's nuts how much movie news dropped today. It was crazy. So make sure you go check that out. I'm sure we're going to talk about, oh gosh, I'm sure we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things going on here today. So anyway, let's get things started with this. And our first question today comes to us from Sam Fisher, who writes, with all the musical biopics, I would love a David Bowie biopic called Ziggy Stardust, The Oddity of the Thin White Duke. You know, for those of you guys who watched me for a period of time, you know that I'm a little bit rare. I know a lot of people love musical biopics. I am not a big fan. There are some exceptions. Absolutely, there are some exceptions. For the most part, I'm not a big fan of musical biopics. I just, frankly, don't find musicians that interesting. And again, there are exceptions. Walk the Line, definitely one of the exceptions, all that kind of stuff. David Bowie could be an interesting one. Certainly an icon in the music industry. So there's certainly possibilities for that. You've come up with an interesting title, Ziggy Stardust, The Oddity of the Thin White Duke. That would be an interesting, I don't know if any studio would go with that title. It might be a little bit too long, but it's an interesting one. Sam Fisher follows it up with, I said Oddity because Space Oddity's title was actually a play on words from 2001, A Space Odyssey. Well, there you go. It's an interesting title. Try this again. No liquid falling out of my face. Okay, good stuff. All right, thanks a lot, Sam. Next one comes to us from Josh Crichton, who writes, did you hear about the big and disappointing news coming relating to Star Wars today? Is this a response to the poor box office of Solo, or relating to Kennedy possibly stepping down, or the Rian Johnson trilogy canceled? Well, first of all, so what he's talking about, there is one report out there. There is no news. What he's talking about is there's a report going around that Disney may be holding off on future Star Wars story movies. Now, before everybody starts jumping off bridges, this is coming from one website that just says, we talked to a source who is close to the situation who says this. Now, that doesn't mean they're not telling the truth, but again, be very, very careful about getting too far ahead with one place says they talked to one person who was sort of close to the situation. And now everybody's running with headlines. Understandably so, it's a big topic, but everybody's running with headlines. Star Wars standalone movies, or the Star Wars story movies, may be getting delayed. Specifically talking about two movies in particular. Talking about a Boba Fett movie, talking about an ObiWan movie. Whether any of this is even true, I don't know. Now, if it is true, you know me. I would rather them do other films other than prequel character films. Look, don't get me wrong. Hey, you've got James Mangold on for Boba Fett. Okay, I'm interested. But honestly, like I've been saying this whole time, I would rather have other movies than prequels of these characters. Boba Fett, okay, you guys got me on board with, not Boba Fett, Obi-Wan movie? You guys got me on board with an Obi-Wan movie. Fine, but I would still rather have something else. I'd rather have films and movies that expand the universe instead of contract it, you know, all that kind of stuff. That being said, I am not going to get too excited about this news because, first of all, there's probably a 40% chance that it's true. All right? Second thing to keep in mind is important too. That they never had a release date for ObiWan. They never had a release date for Boba Fett. They never had these films together in the first place. So they're not delaying anything. All they're doing is saying, well, we haven't started on these things, and okay, we might not get started on them for a while. So it's not like they're canceling them, pushing them off, all this kind of stuff. So even though I would love it if, like, the Boba Fett movie went away and if the Obi-Wan movie went away, I'm open to those films, totally open to them, and I'm interested. But I would rather them do other things. So as much as I would love it, if these films got canned or shelved for other things, I'm not going to get too excited about this point. Really, there's nothing definitive has come out regarding this. We've had no official word about anything from anyone. If there is a delay, and if they are going, well, let's hold off on doing this Obi-Wan thing, let's hold off on doing this Boba Fett thing, it's absolutely in response to the Solo thing. It's like, maybe going backwards and telling prequel stories about already established characters isn't the way to go. Maybe if we do want to look backwards a little bit, maybe we should tell backward stories with all brand new characters like we did with Rogue One. You know, even though we were going backwards, we're still expanding the universe by giving us all new characters. Maybe they just need to take a step back and reevaluate where they're at. Because nobody asked for a Solo movie, especially one without Harrison Ford. If you had announced a Solo movie a few years ago and Harrison Ford was going to be leading it, lots of people would have been interested. Nobody was interested in a Harrison Ford-less Solo movie. And it's too bad, too, because Ron Howard made a damn good movie. But if any of this is true, and we don't even know if it's true, then it's probably Disney going, let's reevaluate our whole Star Wars story strategy. Because maybe we were thinking wrong on a few lines here. So right now, maybe they're sitting back going, let's just put all of our energy and attention into Episode 9, into the new, Rian Johnson films, into the new Jon Favreau show, into the new, movies being put together by the Game of Thrones guys, and let's not worry right now about the Star Wars story movies. To me, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I would actually be pretty happy to hear that. But again, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves until we hear something official. At this point, we just don't know. ZOMG Ruler writes, how the hell did Twilight films do better than Justice League? Twilight had a huge fan base. Twilight had a massively huge fan base. Not you, and not your friends, not me and not my friends, but there is a massive audience out there that loves Twilight and was all about those books. Look, it's not just Justice League. The Twilight films were bigger than most films in Hollywood history. So let's not just pick on Justice League. Twilight did more than a lot of Marvel movies. Let me just pull this up here. Hold a second. Twilight box office. I'll get the full list of the, here we go, the Twilight movies at the box office. All right. The Twilight Saga Eclipse, for example, made almost $700 million. That means it made more than a number of Marvel films. And more than a number of the DC films as well. Let's see, Twilight Saga New Moon made over $700 million, made $710 million. Let's see, Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn made over $800 million, $829 million. Again, bigger than a lot of Marvel films. So it's like, let's not pick on one DC movie in particular. These Twilight movies were huge. They were monstrous. So let's not just pick on Justice League. These Twilight movies did 10 times better than a lot of your favorite movies, than a lot of my favorite movies. So I think people, look, we travel in certain circles, and in our circles, most people don't like the Twilight films. That's fine. But we live in tiny circles. There are other circles out there that love Twilight. They loved it before the movies ever came out. And so, yeah, again, let's not just pretend like Justice League is the only big movie that Twilight beat. Twilight made shit tons of money. Just huge amounts of money. And bigger than some Marvel pictures, bigger than bigger than any Star Trek film in history. The Twilight films were bigger than any Star Trek film in history. The Twilight films made more than a Star Wars movie, more than Solo. Not more than any of the other ones, but more than Solo. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but that's the thing. Film has a much wider audience than the small little circles we travel in, right? We sometimes forget that. We sometimes form our worldview thinking that the circles we're in, that represents the view of the world. No, it doesn't. And Twilight's a really good reminder of that. ZOMG Ruler writes, Hector Jeter writes, the trailer for Welcome to Marwin looks amazing. You know what? I was in a dentist chair most of the day. Yeah, as soon as I was done the John Campea show earlier today, I had to run over to the dentist, and I was there for about 3 hours. So I'm dying to see it because it's Steve Carell, right? And incredible director. You got Zemeckis as the director and the writer. So I'm dying to see it. Haven't had a chance to watch it yet, though. You know what? Just as I'm saying now, I'm starting to feel the numbing stuff starting to wear off. I'm hoping that happens before the end of the show. Okay, let's move on here. Hector follows it up with, I'm too excited about the new AMC subscription. Oh my God, this new AMC subscription, if you guys were not watching the John Campea show earlier today, AMC put out a press release this morning. AMC Theaters, not the television channel, AMC Theaters, that they are launching their own movie subscription service that blows MoviePass and Cinemia, and I love Cinemia, blows them both completely out of the water. It is the death bell for MoviePass and Cinemia. They're done. They're done. And here's what it is. For those of you who missed it, AMC, for $20 a month, all right, $20 a month, you get 3 movies per week. So that's 12 movies a month. 3 movies per week, and it can be in any format. 3D, IMAX, Dolby, AMC Prime, dine-in theaters, you name it, it's in any format. You can reserve your tickets in advance, online, and you get all the discounts at the concession stand that an AMC Stubs Premier member does. Let me go over that again. $20 a month for 3 movies per week. And it includes all formats, IMAX, 3D, Prime, Dolby, dine-in theater, you name it. Discounts at the concession stands, buying online, buying in advance, reserving up to 3 tickets in advance for $20 a month. This kicks the crap out of MoviePass is done. MoviePass is done. Now, there's an argument that I heard some people, they said, well, I don't have an AMC near me. Yes, that's fine. But MoviePass was going under anyway. And now the biggest movie theater change is just like, people aren't going to need your thing to come to us. MoviePass is going to lose a bunch of their subscribers now. Like me, I'm a card-carrying member of both MoviePass and Cinemia, but guess what? I'm going to cancel them. I don't need them because I do live near an AMC. And if you get enough people now that cancel their subscriptions because, hey, well, I've got an AMC right near me and this deal is way better than anybody else's, it's going to throttle them. Yeah, I'm floored at the price they give. $20. Like, I thought if AMC was going to do something like this, it would be $35 a month, and that still would have been well worth it. Because remember, my local theater here, I live right beside the AMC Burbank 16. It's on average about $14 or $15 a ticket for one movie. $20 for 12 movies a month, and discounts at concession, and it's all the theaters, and it's all the formats, and I can buy in advance online, and I don't need a physical card. I can just use my app. I mean, it's this is the end. This is the end for MoviePass. Yeah, I mean, kudos to AMC. It's a great deal. Josh Crichton writes, I was really looking forward to the Kenobi movie in 2020. Disappointing day for Star Wars fans. Not all of us. No. Look, first of all, again, we don't know if it's true. Number two, nobody ever announced that there was a Kenobi movie in 2020. Keep that in mind. No one ever announced that there was a Kenobi movie in 2020. That's very important to keep in mind. All right? On top of that, we don't even know if this report is true. On top of that, don't speak for all Star Wars fans, Josh, because I, for one, would be perfectly happy. As a Star Wars fan, and I know I'm not alone, I would be perfectly happy if they did can the Star Wars story model, can the Boba Fett movie, can the ObiWan movie, and focus on movies that are going to expand the universe instead of contract it. I respect that you are looking forward to it. That's great, and I'm interested in it. I am. But if you gave me if you gave me all the power in the world right now and said, John, you can either go ahead and watch an ObiWan movie, which I'm interested in it, or you can snap your fingers like Thanos and just cancel it and get Star Wars put their attention on other things, I would snap my fingers and want Star Wars put its attention on. That shouldn't come to a surprise to any of you. You guys have heard me talking about this like this for years. But again, Josh, it's really important to keep in mind. Number one, there is no Kenobi movie in 2020. No one ever said it was. It was never officially announced. That no one ever officially said that was happening anyway. Number two, these reports going around today, completely unverified. Could be true. Totally could be true. But right now, you got to keep in mind that they're completely unverified. And then number three, even if all that's true and blah, 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 there's going to be a lot of Star Wars fans, including myself, that would be perfectly happy for them to can Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, to be honest with you. So, but there's so many variables here, Josh. That's the thing. There's so many variables at play right now that let's not get too wound up, too disappointed, too excited, too happy, too sad. Let's not get any of that until we actually start getting some real information. Until then, let's just go, okay, that's interesting. There's some talk about this. That's interesting. But let's not get too worked up one way or the other. You don't get too disappointed. I won't get too excited. And we'll just see where all the things kind of shake themselves out. All right. Rodrigo Ortiz writes, which Batman fighting style did you prefer, Bale's or Affleck's? Some of my friends say Bale's, but the majority say Affleck. Settle this once and for all, where my opinion does not settle it once and for all. But definitely Affleck's. Obviously, I love the Dark Knight movies. They're awesome. But one of the weaknesses is, I mean, Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to film hand-to-hand combat for shit. I mean, right? I couldn't even really tell you what Batman's fighting style was in the Christian Bale movies. Because whenever a fight started, Christopher Nolan would go, who's one of the best directors alive today, but Christopher Nolan would start cutting to 50 different angles and doing such rapid editing and shaking camera that you don't actually see any of the action that's really going on. And Bale's fighting technique, the Bale Batman fighting technique, was much more stiff. Probably had a lot to do with the costume. But yeah, again, I'm not saying that, the Affleck Batman movies were better than Bale's Batman movies. Not saying that at all. I'm simply saying I would take the fighting style that we saw from Affleck's Batman any day of the week over the fighting style we saw in the Christian Bale version of Batman. That's just my opinion at any rate. But my opinion does not settle the issue. I'm just one opinion. That's all. All right. Chase Eicher writes, Christopher Robin is my most anticipated movie ever. Dude, I mean, I'm not going to say that personally, but oh my God, how excited are we all for this Christopher Robin movie? If you had told me 6 months ago that, John, your anticipation level is going to be between an 8 and a 9 for this Winnie the Pooh movie, I would have said, get the hell out of here. You have no idea what you're talking about. I like Winnie the Pooh as much as anybody, and I'm sure it'll be cute, but come on. The trailers, watching these Christopher Robin trailers just makes my heart happy. Don't you guys feel that way? Like when you watch one of these trailers, that your heart is smiling. Your heart smiles watching these trailers. It's amazing what they've done. So while I will not say that it is my most anticipated movie ever, I will say I am more excited about this Christopher Robin movie than I have any business being excited for. I mean, I'm far more excited about than I would have thought possible for a movie like this. So yeah, man, I am with you. I'm not my most anticipated movie ever. but very, very excited. It just looks incredible. I cannot wait to watch this thing. I mean, if we can't watch him as Obi-Wan Kenobi, we can watch him as Christopher Robin. All right. Next one comes to us from Caleb Bradford, who writes, have you seen the critic consensus for Gotti? Just says forget about it. No, I didn't see that. That one part is something that the Rotten Tomatoes staff writes up. But yeah, Gotti, I believe, let me double check, but the last time I looked, the Gotti movie was sitting at 0% still. I'm going to see if it's gone up to 1% yet. Nope, still sitting at 0%. 0% for Gotti. And then this morning, it got exposed that, you know how it says like there's a 67% fan rating? How come the fans like it and the critics don't? The fans don't. You know, I brought this up on the John Campea show earlier. Let me bring it up here again. Give me a second to make this a little bit bigger so you can read what I'm talking about here. Okay, so there's this big thing going around. By the way, MoviePass is one of the companies behind Gotti. So, anyway, let's take a look at this. Somebody did a little bit of research on these positive fan reactions on Rotten Tomatoes, right? This is another reason, yet more proof, you should never bother talking about the audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's completely manipulable. So here it is. I went to take a look at the written reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and of the first 58 reviews with an available profile, 45 had just created their account in June. In other words, they created their account so they could go write a positive review for Gotti. Of these 45, 32 have only reviewed Gotti, 10 reviewed Gotti, and another movie. 7 times it was American Animals for some reason. Well, guess what? Remember I just told you that MoviePass they're one of the companies behind Gotti? MoviePass is also one of the companies behind, you guessed it, American Animals. And 3 had more than 3 reviews. In other words, all the positive fan ratings on Rotten Tomatoes are BS that MoviePass made up. And again, I've been telling you guys for years, ignore IMDb fan ratings, ignore Rotten Tomato audience ratings. They're complete, there's just, you cannot rely on them. They're so easily manipulated to look like something, right? So MoviePass had the audacity. I'm telling you, my opinion more and more is that MoviePass is a scummy, scummy company. And I'm happy they're about to die. I'll be honest with you, I'm happy they're about to die. Especially after this recent thing. So MoviePass puts out this tweet the other day saying, the critics are trying to put out a hit on Gotti, but audiences are loving it. And they point to that Rotten Tomato audience rating of 71% at the time. And it's like, and I'm reading that, I'm like, I know people who have seen Gotti and nobody says they like it. And then sure enough, these things come out. So yeah, turns out we actually looked into these positive ratings for Gotti. Most of them come from accounts that just got created just to make a review of Gotti. It's like, yeah, go figure. Go figure. Oh, and some of them, then only other movie they reviewed was American Animals, which just so happens to be another movie that MoviePass is behind. I give up on this company, man. I just totally give up on this company. It's hilarious. Okay, let's keep things going here. James, where am I? James Bonner writes, hey, John, just watched Infernal Affairs last night. Great little film. I have been talking about Infernal Affairs for years. It is my all-time favorite cop movie. All-time favorite cop movie. Infernal Affairs. It's, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's an Asian cop film. And it's, you know Martin Scorsese's film, The Departed, that won Best Picture at the Academy Awards and won Martin Scorsese his only directing Academy Award? The Departed is a remake of Infernal Affairs. It's a very faithful remake, too, as a matter of fact. Anyway, if you haven't had a chance to watch Infernal Affairs, watch it. It's magnificent. It's fantastic. Glad you had a chance to watch it, James. It's really wonderful. Let's see here. Where are we at? Next one comes to us from Rami J. Royster, who writes, sad Lucifer ended, but Supergirl will be back. Well, don't forget, Lucifer's back. Netflix stepped up, picked up Lucifer. Lucifer Season 4 is coming to show that there is some justice in the world, because I simply don't want to live in a world where Supergirl gets renewed and Lucifer didn't. I just wouldn't want to live in that world, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, you know, no big surprise. Supergirl, like many of the CW shows, they have small ratings, but good enough for CW that keeps them going, right? Like, if you compare Walking Dead audiences to, like, Arrow, it's ridiculous. I mean, Arrow's like a tiny, but CW doesn't need to have the same ratings that a lot of the shows do, and it does well. That's why a show like one of my favorites, Supernatural, has been on this air now for 14 seasons. Because it's got a big enough audience for that network to keep it going. And so it's still, and you know what? I hate Supergirl, but there's a lot of people out there who like it. At least enough people out there that like it to justify keeping the show going. So absolutely, like I'm happy for everybody who's fans of Supergirl that they get to have that show back. I'm just really happy that Lucifer did get picked up again, this time by Netflix, and we're going to see where Netflix takes the show. I'm very excited about it. Noah Kaiser writes, have you ever left a movie besides Lady Bird? Yeah, I've walked out of, like, I think 4 movies in total in my life. Lady Bird was one of them. God, I hated that movie. I hated that movie. I honestly, it's one of those few movies that I'm completely opposite from the vast majority of other film critics. Because everybody else loved that movie. I thought it was a snore fest. But anyway, whatever, that's me. I respect that other people liked it. That's great. I walked out. So, the movies I've walked out of are Lady Bird, the Jennifer Connelly film Dark Water. Love Jennifer Connelly. Dark Water sucked. Movie 43. Is it movie 43 or movie 42? Something like that. Complete garbage. I couldn't take that movie more than 20 minutes. I think I only lasted about 20 minutes in that one. And then the other one, I think the final one that I've ever walked out on in my entire life was the Johnny Knoxville film Ringer. I understand in Ringer their intention, and I respect the intent. The intention was to show special athletes with special needs, in a positive, normal light. And I respect that. I do. I understand that's what they are going for. But it felt like to me like the whole thing was making fun of special needs people. And I know that's not what they meant. So I'm not angry at anybody for it, but the jokes and a lot of the humor in Ringer, while I understand they had good intentions, it just came across to me like they were just making fun of people with special needs, and I felt really uncomfortable watching that. I felt really uncomfortable. And I get that that wasn't their intention. I get that they had the best of intentions, and I respect that. That's why I don't have any disrespect for Johnny Knoxville about it or anything like that. But regardless of intention, it came across really poorly to me, and I just felt uncomfortable sitting there watching it, and I left. So those are the 4 films I've ever walked out of. Lady Bird, Dark Water, movie 42 or 43, whatever it's called, and Johnny Knoxville's Ringer. Those are all the films I've walked out of. Okay, Daniel Quintana writes, when we talk about how much profit a film makes, we talk about production, marketing, and the theater's take. Why don't we talk about distribution costs? And distribution is a significant cost. I think it's kind of all lumped in when we're talking about, at the end of the day, the production company, the company responsible for financing the film and all that kind of stuff, they probably get back about X amount percentage of dollars. Now, we could talk about distribution costs, because distribution costs is significant. And in the example of where what happens a lot of time is that the production company and the distribution company are 2 different companies, right? Sometimes a Warner Brothers film is distributed by Warner Brothers, the distributor, sure. But a lot of times, like A24 has their show kind of put out by somebody else, or has their movie put out by another company. And the smaller production companies, they pick up a big distributor who then distributes their films. And there are other extra costs entailed in that. But you're right, that is another factor to take into consideration. It's not one we normally talk about, but maybe it is one we should. Maybe it is one we should figure in there as well. It just makes it even more of a bleak picture, to be honest. James Welsh writes, heard AMC theaters jumped on board the movie subscription train. Twice the price. Okay, I see. Okay, so James here now is quoting MoviePass, the pathetic little cretins that they are. I've lost all respect for this company. So from my perspective, the pathetic little cretins that they are, put out this tweet. Twice the price for 1/4 of the theater network and 60% fewer movies. Thanks for making us look good, AMC. And that was this was MoviePass's response on Twitter. Twice the price for 1/4 of the theater network and 60% fewer movies. Thanks for making us look good, AMC. Let's just burst that bubble right now, MoviePass. They just made you look like idiots. AMC just made you look like fools. They did not make you look good. They made you look awful. AMC's deal is so much better for everybody else who lives near an AMC theater. Granted. But see, here's where the real damage is going to come in, is that now Regal is probably good, because Cinemark already has their own version of a movie club, and Cinemark's deal wasn't bad either. We talked about Cinemark's deal a couple months ago on the John Campea show. It's not a bad little deal, not as good as AMC's. Now, Regal will probably come out with their own. And once Regal, AMC, and Cinemark, who are like the 3 biggest theater chains in the country, once all 3 of them have their own, there's nothing left for MoviePass. So MoviePass, you can write these tweets all you want and go, oh, thanks for making us look good, AMC. You just made yourself look more stupid. You would have been better off not to tweet out anything, MoviePass. You just made yourself look even more dumb. But that seems to be your company's specialty, is making yourselves look dumb. And look, here's the thing. I have been critical of MoviePass for a while because I have not liked their business practices. They've had a very mafia kind of gangster criminal business practices, the way they manage themselves, to my perception at any rate. The way they've tried to strong-arm people, they try to use their consumers as leverage against movie theaters to force movie theaters into cutting them into deals and all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's not how you approach business. That's not how you create good working relationships with your third-party partners. You're doing it completely wrong. And then other, like, devious little ratty things that they've done, like, oh, we just signed a promotional deal with, what was that Bruce Willis, the Bruce Willis remake they just did? Why am I forgetting the name of it? The one where he's the vigilante. Well, the studio signed a promotional deal with AMC, with MoviePass to promote Bruce Willis's new movie. So guess what MoviePass did? Do you remember this? It was all over the news. Another movie opening the same weekend as that Bruce Willis movie was Jennifer Lawrence's Red Sparrow. And mysteriously, at movie theaters all across the country, people went to use their MoviePass to go see Red Sparrow, and MoviePass wouldn't let them go see Red Sparrow. Why? Well, because the Bruce Willis movie's paying us for promotional consideration, so we're not going to let you go see that other movie. The way they have disrespected their customers, the way they have spit in the face of their potential third-party partners, the way they have conducted business, this is the Keystone Cops. Like, seriously, whenever I read any news story about MoviePass now, and I still have a MoviePass card in my wallet, but whenever I see a story now about MoviePass, all I hear is that Benny Hill music. I mean, they're just a bunch of incompetent clowns. And I remember reading this tweet that they put out, and I remember, yep, that's exactly the type of tweet I would expect from an incompetent, clueless, underhanded, conniving, ratty, and most importantly, completely out of touch company. If you were to say, hey, John, what kind of a tweet in response to what AMC just did would you expect from an underhanded, incompetent, conniving, completely out of touch company? This is what that tweet would look like. It would look like this. Well done, MoviePass, for taking a hit on the chin and then punching yourself in the balls. AMC gave you a punch in the chin and then you just hoofed yourself in the balls in response, thinking that that would make things better. Unbelievable. Seriously, the people making the decisions over there is just mind-boggling to me. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room, just to hear how these decision-making process. Yeah, let's let's put out a tweet that says AMC just made us look good. Oh my God, you realize you're sounding like a 4th grade child doing that, right? No, it'll be great. Let's tweet that out. Oh my God. You know what? Here's what MoviePass should have tweeted out. Here's what MoviePass should have tweeted out. First of all, they shouldn't have responded at all. But if you're going to respond, here's what you respond. Something along the lines of, hey, we noticed that AMC has recognized, if I was in charge at MoviePass, and granted things would be a lot worse if I was, but if I was in charge at MoviePass, here's what I'd say. Let's put out a response that says, we at MoviePass are encouraged that AMC sees the wisdom in the business model we have pioneered. And we are grateful that a big company like AMC has recognized what we have been telling them and the consumers for over a year now, that there is a different way to do moviegoing. There is a better way to do moviegoing. And we at MoviePass celebrate that AMC has acknowledged that this business plan that we have pioneered longer than anybody else, the merit to this type of a business plan. That's what I would have said. That's what I would have said. Instead, they're only giving you 1/4 of the movies at twice the price. Thanks for making us look good, AMC. Oh my God, you're a 4th grade child. You had an opportunity, you blew it. Anyway, I don't mean for this to be like this, the all trashing on MoviePass thing, but you know, here's the thing that makes me upset, is that at its core, the MoviePass idea, and this is why I've been a card-carrying MoviePass member for years, the core idea of what MoviePass at least could have been is so revolutionary, it's so industry disruptive, it's so cool, that it really could make a difference had they not acted so incompetently and acted so underhandedly and tried to act like street thugs and try to strong-arm people into forcing companies to do business with them. And it's like, it's just, and that's what makes me really upset about it, is that they had such a great idea on its grassroots level, and it could have been something really great. And instead, they made themselves a laughingstock. But anyway, we'll see what happens as time goes forward. I expect another tweet from MoviePass to go, AMC, you're doo-doo heads. I expect that tweet from MoviePass any minute now. Okay, let's move on here. Dakota Barber writes, had good discussion about Infinity War ending with friends from church. Had differing opinions, but still respectful of the other. Wish more discussed respectfully. I mean, hey, look, that's the best thing. I love, you know, seriously, I put out a tweet today. Here's a great example of how great film community can be, right? And I put out a tweet earlier today, something about, I think the CEO of Comcast is laughing his ass off, knowing that he personally forced Bob Iger and Disney to spend $20 billion more than they wanted to acquire Fox. And they may not even, they still might not get Fox. We'll have to wait and see. It's certainly not over. But, and I had some people agree with me and writing to me, and some people disagree. But even all the people who disagree with me saying, hey, John, I think you need to look at it this way, and blah, blah, blah. And just had some really good discourse. Some really good fun, just movie banter, right? It was great. It was very refreshing because a lot of stuff, if you give any opinion about anything on any movie at any time, it can get really toxic really fast. And I was just, yeah, I was sitting in my dental chair with these moldings in my mouth as they're taking a mold of my mouth. And I got this goo going down the back of my throat, make me want to gag. But I'm sitting there with my phone up because I had to keep this mold in my mouth for a few minutes. So I'm trying to keep myself distracted from the fact that I've got this gelatinous goo going down the back of my throat and me wanting to vomit my guts out. And I'm reading my phone and going, like, this is just so cool. Like, some people offering different points of view on it. And it was just really good. It was kind of movie community stuff at its best. And I had a really good time reading that. Let's see. Miles Pardo writes, according to Fox Business, Comcast will be countering at $41 per share, which would put its bid at around $79 million. I have also heard that. Like, I think Comcast, look, everybody knows I want Comcast to get Fox. I don't want Disney to get Fox. Just because I don't want X-Men and Deadpool and Fantastic Four in the MCU. The MCU is already overcrowded. I like having multiple movie universes, not just one, all that kind of stuff. That being said, with Disney coming in at nearly $72 billion, they have $71.3 billion, something like that. I don't know. I think Comcast should throw in the towel. Personally, at that point, you know what? You guys hate Disney, and you just forced them to spend $20 billion more than they want to. By the way, to everybody who think Disney is just made of money, Disney has a market cap value of about $150 billion. That means them having to put in an offer for over $71 million, that means they are about to give up nearly half of their entire worth. That's huge. Like, a lot of people seem to think, oh, Disney is infinite money. Disney is made of... There's no limit to the end of Disney. No, there is a limit to Disney's money. And Comcast just forced them to throw in another $20 billion. And, like, I guarantee you, Bob Iger's not happy about this. Iger clearly feels that the value is still worth it, but he's not happy. Bob Iger is not happy about this. And Disney, by the way, is now going to be forking over almost half of their net value. That's huge, and that's going to hurt. I would love to see Comcast come in with this counter and win this thing. But honestly, I think if I'm Comcast, you know what? Fox is simply not worth, and the assets you're getting is not worth $75 billion. Don't put in a bid of $75 billion. Don't put in a bid, I'd say, you know what? Gather back up your $65 billion that you almost just spent and go throw a kegger. Go throw the greatest party in the history of mankind. Hold on to your money. So, yes, I am hearing reports that Comcast, here's what I'm hearing, that Comcast put in their $65 billion bid expecting that Disney would counter them to around the tune of about $70 billion. They expected Disney to counter to around $70 billion, in which case they were prepared to come in with another offer. So like $65 billion wasn't Comcast's final offer. From what I'm hearing is, they assumed we'll put out the $65 billion offer, but we're willing to go as high as 78, 79, but we'll put out the $65 billion. We'll make Disney play their hand and show their hand by what they're willing to counter to, and then we will counter again. Whether or not that's true, we'll have to wait and see. Personally, the price tag has just gone up to an amount of money that if I'm Comcast, I'm just saying fold your tent and go home. If Disney's willing to pay half of their net value for it, let them take it. I mean, I'm not happy as a fan because I think it's going to be bad for comic book movies to have putting all these heroes now under one roof. I think that's bad for comic book movies. It's going to mean fewer voices telling these stories. It's going to mean fewer universes. It's going to mean fewer movies. And you know what? This is the studio that just gave us Deadpool and Deadpool 2 and Logan and X-Men Days of Future Past and First Class. And now we're not going to get movies from them anymore. And that disappoints me, to be honest with you. I'm very disappointed by that. But we'll see if Comcast counters. But I do think this. I think if Comcast counters to the tune of $79 billion, I don't think Disney tries to top it. Because that's now getting to a value that Disney would have to commit more than half of their net worth. And I don't think their shareholders would be very happy about that. I mean, I don't know. Look, I told you guys this a week ago. This thing's far from over, and this is going to get your popcorn and start, because we're about to see a show, and this has been every bit as entertaining as I thought it would be. So maybe Disney's got it. Maybe Comcast counters. Who knows? We'll just have to see how that goes. John K. writes, you always say any good actor when asked about casting possibilities. Other than Liz Olsen as Scarlet Witch, what are some of the worst miscasts of talented actors? Well, going back to the comic book genre again, Kirsten Dunst. Thank you. Kristen Wiig is a very different person. Kirsten Dunst is Mary Jane. Kirsten Dunst is a great actress. She's wonderful. Terrible fit for Mary Jane. in those initial Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Just a terrible fit. That's not a commentary on Kristen Dunst. She's a great actress. She's a wonderful actress. But that was not a good fit. And that's one of the biggest ones. Going back to, we were just talking about her the other day. The girl, the actress who played Lois Lane in Superman Returns. Bad casting. Really talented actress, but that was bad casting. Lois, they should have got an actress that was like 15 years older than her. Because we're going into this movie, she looked like she was 12, but she's supposed to be this veteran award-winning journalist, and she just looks like she's 12. I don't care how good of an actress she is. It just doesn't work, you know. So that's an example as well. I'm sure if I sat down and thought about it, we could all probably come up with about 10 or 11 other names. But again, for the most part, just put a good actor in the role and I'm happy. But yeah, there are going to be some questions of fit now and again for sure. And there are a few examples like Dunst, like I think Elizabeth Olsen, like I think the name of the actress whose name is eluding me right now, who played Lois Lane in Man of Steel, or in, not Man of Steel, in Superman Returns. There will be a few examples if you put in a good actor, but it's still not the right fit. That happens, but for the most part, most of the time, I'm just happy you putting a talented actor in any particular role. Michael Solaric writes, due to Solo's box office, Star Wars spin-offs are now on hold. Well, we don't know that for sure. There's one report that says we talked to a person who's close to it who says this. That's like a broken telephone game. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I wouldn't put too much stock in it. I'd be happy if that were true, but I'm not going to get terribly excited about it. If you're somebody really looking forward to Boba Fett over Obi-Wan, I would caution you not to get too disappointed just yet. Let's see what happens when we address that a little bit earlier. Okay, let's keep going here. Zack Kaplan writes, when you hear Comcast, you don't think of movie studio. If they win the Fox betting war, could they transition into a major Hollywood studio similar to Disney? No, they don't need to. Remember, Comcast, they already have a big major Hollywood studio. They have Universal. That puts out a lot of big, huge freaking films. Like Jurassic World, like the Fast and Furious. Like they already have a major Hollywood studio. So they would just acquire another one and probably just let it run. Probably just let them continue running as a business and they'll just own them and leverage it. So, no, I don't see Comcast, as a parent company, becoming known as a big Hollywood studio any more than I think AT&T is going to be looked at as a big Hollywood studio now that they own Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers will continue to be the studio. AT&T will just be their corporate overlord. And I think that's what will happen here if Comcast, and I'm thinking now that Disney will probably get them. I've always kind of thought that Disney would get them, but I'm thinking Disney's going to get them here. But even if Comcast does come in with a bigger offer and actually wins, they'll just be the bigger corporate overlord of the other corporation. They'll just own Fox, but I think Fox will probably just stay together. They'll keep it together and just let it keep operating. They'll just have a different owner, I think. I don't know that for sure. I'm just basing that on my own speculation. Let's see. Michael Slarick writes, disappointing, but honestly expected. Money talks. Money does talk. And that's the thing. Like some people try to say, yeah, but John, somebody tried to have this debate with me, said, Murdoch, like the chief guy at Fox, he wants the deal with Fox, or he wants the deal with Disney. That means what's going to happen. It's like, it doesn't matter what Murdoch wants. It matters what the shareholders want. And the shareholders are going to vote in July. And the only thing that shareholders care about is money. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about the legacy of this. They don't care about the value of that. They don't care about nothing other than how much you're going to give me for my share. That's all shareholders care about. And if Disney comes in with the higher bid, they're going to go with Disney. If Comcast comes in with the higher bid, the shareholders are going to go with Comcast. Disney knows that. That's why Disney just upped their offer. Because they know that the shareholders, no matter what Murdoch wants, no matter what the Fox board wants, no matter any of that, it's the shareholders who got to vote. And Disney knows that If Comcast is offering more money than we are, the Fox shareholders are going to vote to go with them. Therefore, we need to up our offer. And I think they may have just upped their offer high enough that Comcast won't counter. But there are some reports that Comcast is getting ready to counter. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. But you're right. It's the biggest. That's it. If you're selling plastic cups, you don't care what a dude wants to use this plastic cup for. One guy says, I'm going to use it to drink water. Okay, great. But another guy says, yeah, but if you sell me the plastic cup, I'll use it to create a sustainable pet sanctuary for this, and this. You don't care. You only care about, okay, but you're offering me $1.25 for this cup, and he's offering me $1.75. Can you pay me $1.80? No? Okay, then I'm going with the $1.75 one. And that's really all it comes down to when it comes to shareholders. Let's see here. What's next? Sorry, guys. La la la. Okay, here we go. Next one comes to us from Carlos Camejo, who writes, have you seen The Gotti with John Travolta yet? Nope, I have no interest. Just everybody I know says it's trash, so I have no desire to watch it. I mean, I finally got around to watching Hereditary, but I still haven't seen Upgrade. I am certainly not going to waste my time watching Gotti when I still have to get out and see Upgrade. But no, I haven't seen it yet, to be honest. And I'll watch this. I finally watched Gotti, and I end up being the one guy in the world who loves it. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Murray Reich writes, I saw your video today regarding the AMC service. Does that $20 a month work for all formats? Also, is that service separate from the regular yearly $15 membership? From what I understand, the $20 a month covers all formats. Dine-in, AMC Prime, Dolby, 3D, I already said IMAX. Yeah, IMAX, it covers all formats. From what I understand, if you become a member, you get all of the benefits of the existing $15 a year membership, a Stubs membership. So for that $20 a month, you get all the benefits of a Stubs member, if I understand it right. I have to look more into it. Again, I spent many hours of my day today in a dentist chair, and I'm starting to get the feeling back in my upper lip, which is pretty good. So yes, from what I understand, that's all. That's one of what makes this thing an astounding deal. Like MoviePass, you don't get to see a Prime theater. You don't get to see 3D, not that I would ever go see 3D. You don't get to go to an IMAX. You don't get to go to a dine-in theater. You don't get to reserve your seats in advance. You don't get to buy your tickets online in advance. You don't get discounts at the concession stand. You don't get any of that stuff. You get all of that for 10 more bucks a month. I'm in. I'm in. 2 movies, and it more than pays for itself. I'm totally in. Totally in. Murray Reich follows it up with, what a shame that they just announced the AMC service, because last night I switched from MoviePass to Cinemia. Yeah, that does suck. And Cinemia, the best way to do Cinemia is to buy the year in advance, which you'll still be able to use it. I mean, you can still use it. Like, hey, if like you're not near your local AMC theater and you're somewhere else, use your Cinemia to see a movie somewhere else or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I paid for my Cinemia a year in advance. I still have 6 months left on my Cinemia card. Nothing I can do about that because I paid for it all in advance. And it was totally well worth it. It's already more than paid for itself. But I will be canceling MoviePass pretty quick. But yeah, sorry about that, Murray. That's like if only AMC had announced this a few weeks ago. You could have saved yourself some money. All right, here. Dom's Vibranium Bicep. Great name. I love it. Disney, wow. Just wow. Thoughts? I mean, hey, Disney, Comcast sent a very clear message with their $65 billion bid that they were serious. Disney has now just sent a message of their own that they are also very serious. It becomes a question now about which company is willing to hurt themselves the most. Because you are simply now in dollar figure values that both of these companies, Comcast and Disney, they're going to hurt themselves. You don't get to just give away half the value of your company and not have it hurt and have there not be repercussions. Both of these companies are now in territory that they, whichever one wins, whether it's Comcast with a bigger deal or whether it's Disney with this deal, they're going to hurt. It's going to hurt. This is going to be an owie. A lot. So we'll just have to see. But hey, Iger is playing hardball, man. Iger is playing hardball. So let's see first of all, let's see if Comcast counters. I don't think they should, but let's see if they do. And if they do, what does Disney do at that point? Because honestly, neither Comcast nor Disney have much more left to play with. So it's getting down to the wire here. So I told you this was going to be exciting to watch. I'm just having a great time watching this all unfold. It's not my money, so I'm excited. All right. Trevor Johnson writes, no spoilers, but based on the trailers for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, is Site B just totally retconned from the universe? I'm assuming so. I can't answer that question. Anything I answer right now would be considered a spoiler. If I said yes, that's a spoiler. If I said no, that gives away something about the movie. It's a spoiler. So, yeah, my apologies, Trevor, but I can't answer that question. Because no matter what I say, I would be giving away some information about the movie that opens this weekend. And I got to be really careful about that. So I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you recognize that the question you're asking poses potential for spoilers. But yeah, I can't answer that, man. Sorry about that. But I appreciate the question, though. Taki75 writes, John, now you look like an inbred Carson Harper. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah. I prefer to think of it as now I look Canadian. Now I look like the stereotypical Canadian hockey player. I went through a lot of years playing hockey in Canada, never lost any of my teeth. But now, yeah, what? You know what the worst thing? I don't care that it looks like I get it. You know what the worst part is? You don't realize how much having all your teeth here and what that does to control the air that comes in and out of your mouth. Saying words with F or PH, like you can normally you close your bottom lip over, right? When you're going to make that sound, right? Do that, and that prevents any air and it creates a certain sound. But now I get this gap where air comes out making that sound that I don't normally intend. So phenomenal, you know, phenomenal. Like it's really weird. It's like just talking is weird. Anyway, okay, let's go on here. Edgar Navarro writes, hey, John, love the show. Thank you so much, Edgar. What is the better Michael Cera film? Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist or Scott Pilgrim? Oh, that's easy. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I didn't even like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist that much. And I gotta admit, I'm not a big Michael Cera fan, to be honest with you. I don't dislike Michael Cera, not at all. But Scott Pilgrim versus the World was great, and he was great in it. Michael Cera was really good in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So to me, I mean, all films subjective. Some other people might like Nick and Nora. That's great. But since you're asking me, hands down, no questions asked, Scott Pilgrim versus the World was the better film, in my opinion, at any rate. And it's one of the few films that I actually really like Michael Cera in it. Now, sure, he was good in Superbad as well, but I don't know that I've ever liked him as much as I liked him in Scott Pilgrim. I just thought he was great in that. Let's see. Pumped Up Kicks 29 writes, hey, John, cool face. Cool face. Do you think Magic gets LeBron, Kawhi, and George to the Lakers? Yes, I do. Look, well, Paul George is the big question mark. Yes, salary cap-wise. But all the reports say that Kawhi wants to go to LA. LeBron is starting to think about his post-basketball career, and that needs to be in Los Angeles. He's already started a new production company. He's financing a new production company. He's already visiting schools for his kids to go to here in Los Angeles. I think he wants to come to LA. And I think Kawhi wants to come to LA. And Paul George, if he comes to LA, you are now finally talking about a team that can legitimately contend against the Golden State Warriors. Kawhi Leonard, because he plays in such a small market, he is a top 3 player in the NBA, Kawhi Leonard. George is not the player that he used to be, but he could still be very good. And LeBron is clearly still the best basketball player on the planet. It could be interesting. It could be very interesting. We'll have to see what happens. Let's see. Mike McHale writes, AMC A-List, by the way, that's the name of the AMC new subscription thing, AMC Stubs A-List. AMC A-List will start next Tuesday. Canceling both my Cinemia and MoviePass cards for this. Also, did you see MoviePass's tweet response? Yeah, you probably wrote that in before we got to addressing the other question. Yep. Totally made themselves look like idiots. That tweet that MoviePass put out in response is just a great little universe in a nutshell about everything that's wrong with MoviePass. And that the people making decisions there have no wisdom. They have no wisdom. They just made themselves look idiotic with that tweet, to be quite frank with you. They made themselves look really, really stupid. And again, I think there was a response to put out. I said, let me say it again. If I was in charge of MoviePass, my Twitter response would be, hey, we at MoviePass think it's great that AMC is recognizing this business model that we have pioneered and that they're seeing the value in bringing blah, blah, blah. There's a way you could have spun this to be really positive. Instead, they made themselves look like fourth grade idiots. Don's Vibranium Biceps writes, John, forget Felipe. Let's get the GC Crown affair. Feel better, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know what's even worse? I found out today. They said I'm at a new dentist now, right? They said that my previous dentist who put in the crown botched it so badly. Like, this should not have fallen out. They botched it so badly that they can't just put it back in. They said, now what we've got to do is we've got to pull the rest of the tooth out, drill a screw into your jawbone, and basically put an implant in. We got to put in a fake implant on there now. Oh, yay! Let's drill a screw into my head. I'm not happy about this, so we got to do that next week. So I'm going to be walking around with a gap in my teeth for at least another week until I can go back to the dentist next week when they have the oral surgeon in to come in and put a screw up in there and I don't like the dentist. Anyway, okay, let's move. Thank you for the well wishes, man. Sentez Henderson writes, hey, John, what's your thoughts on the Play Arts Kai and Artifacts figures? Wanted to buy some soon, but wanted to get your thoughts on them. Well, Artifacts, I believe that's Kotobukiya is behind them. I'm a big fan of the Kotobukiya figures. As a matter of fact, hold a second here. Let me grab a couple here. So grab this guy here, and let me grab these guys. Let me grab this guy. I've got a number of Kotobukiya figures, and I'll tell you what, I'm a big fan of the Kotobukiya. First of all, check out this Deadpool. This Deadpool is great. By the way, I can take this sword out of his hand and put it back in its sai in the back. It comes on this great magnetized Deadpool plate that he stands, and the feet are magnetized, which is great. So he stays on the plate. So that one's really good. I love my Flash. Love my Flash figure. Really happy. And again, magnetized feet, right? He looks great. I'm really, really happy with that one. And I love these Stormtrooper ones. This Stormtrooper one came in a pack of 2. Look how pretty these are. And they come with different arms and different legs. You can do different poses with them. And again, magnetized feet. So they stick on there really good. And this, a pack of 2, was like 50 or 60 bucks. And look how pretty these are. These are gorgeous. I tell you what, the Kotobukiya artifact stuff, not as good as obviously Hot Toys or anything like that, but the bang for your buck value that you get for these figures is really, really high. The bang for your buck value you get for these figures is high. I encourage people to look into them. I think they're quite good. Let's see. Where am I? Oh, History Soup says, Hollywood Reporter says Picard is returning. What are you talking about? Let me look this up. Hold a second. Jean-Luc Picard. What are you talking about? Patrick Stewart may return as Captain Picard amidst CBS push to expand Star Trek. What? No. I didn't hear about that. That would be awesome if it did. I mean, apparently he's not going to be playing Professor Xavier anymore. So it'd be interesting to see in which way they're... Well, they are... We talked about this on the John Campea show earlier today. They are talking about doing a Starfleet Academy show, right? And maybe in it, Picard is like... He's Dumbledore. Maybe Picard is now the head of Starfleet Academy. Maybe that's the angle they're going to play with it. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Be cool, though. Okay, last question of the day, because we've already gone over an hour, but don't worry, guys. Any of you have sent in live questions, do not worry. I will gather up all, starting with CJT231 and all the ones after it. I will take all of the live questions you guys sent in, and I will address them and use them on tomorrow morning's companion video. It will be up there tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. in the morning, so they will get addressed. So, but I'm out of time for today. So, the last question today comes to us from Murray Reich, who writes, responding to yesterday's open mic regarding ordering food and drinks, there's more than 4 theaters around the U.S. besides Arizona and VS. I don't know what VS is. With that option, especially New York, but only upstate near Albany. Cool. I just know that on my AMC app, it only says 4 theaters. 2 in Arizona, 2 in California. If there's more than that, awesome. But so if you live somewhere else and you want to see if that ordering your food in advance option is available near you, check your AMC app. And because Murray is saying it might be available in other places as well, maybe it'll be available someplace near you as well. All right, guys, that will do it for all my time for today for this. Granted, I'm a little bit loopy, the drugs, my face is weird, all that, well, what's new? All that kind of stuff. But thank you, guys, for being here and being a film fan with me and giving me an outlet to sit here and talk about movies and all that kind of stuff. And thank you for all the topics you guys submitted. And thank you for using Super Chat as well. That really supports the channel, and I thank you for that, guys. So don't forget, guys, tomorrow morning, the John Campea Show at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. A little bit later this afternoon, around 5:30ish, somewhere between 5:30 and 6, I'm going to be jumping online and playing a little bit of Warcraft. If you want to come, a little video thing that we call Play and Chat. Well, I just play Warcraft and we talk movies while I'm playing Warcraft and some other games as well. Join me for that. Anyway, guys, that will do it for me for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time today. This was a fun show. Thank you guys for making it so enjoyable. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.